Hey folks, Valentin the Mad here, and today we'll be looking at upcoming games where responsive characters are a focus to some degree. It is a format I plan on doing every so often, and this is the first edition. So, we'll begin with the obvious one, Dead Island 2. I'm very much a fan of the first game, precisely because it is focused on bashing and slicing zombies in a cool location. It has a fair bit of flaws to it, but the experience overall is very enjoyable, and I was very much looking forward to the second one. And that second one, in the recent re-announcement, looks quite good. So, what immediately pops up is the incredible multiplayer damage. We have several examples of it across the videos, and that looks very nice. The head damage in particular looks exceptionally nasty. As for the animations and the blood spilling, those look more than adequate. The blood spilling, somewhat to my surprise, leads to a much more realistic response than you usually have in zombie games. So, very much looking forward to trying it out, definitely top of the list on this one for me. Next up is the Dead Space remake. The first thing in our aspect that was showcased was the multiplayer system. I do recall the previous games having basically nothing if a hit didn't dismember, so this is a very good step up. In the recent previews, you can see blood spilled more liberally. It was also kind of lacking in the previous games, and what I saw in the IGN previews didn't blow me away, but it is notably better than what we had before. And, of course, we do have the classic feature of dismemberment and changes of behavior for it. So, for the horror fans, this one should be quite enjoyable. Another one in a similar vein to keep in mind is Negative Atmosphere. Also, horror experience, nasty creatures, and gore. No recent footage of the latter, but the project is very much alive, and I have seen some previews in 2020 that had some cool features, so I do think it is one to keep in mind. Next up is a yet to be titled game by TheLocalBogan. On the channel, it's currently best known as that game from 037 with the glorious head splitting. It is an action game, currently in a gameplay prototyping phase, and character responses will very much be a focus. Even in the current, still work in progress state, it will deliver some very cool and quite nasty moments. A demo is in the works, and around the time when it's gonna be coming out, I will be covering it here on the channel, with demonstrations and an interview with all the details about it. So, stay tuned. Next up is First Cut. So, I will say, I'm not a fan of the retro style and pixel art stuff, and generally, I don't cover those, but occasionally something comes up and just stands out as exceptionally cool. This is one of those games. Just immediately when I saw this trailer, it looked crazy cool to me, kind of a must-play thing. And in our aspect, you can see that taking the graphical style into account, there's a good bit of detail. A bunch of sliced up variations, a variety of ways that spilled blood is interacting with the environment, and the player character also gets gradually covered in blood. Next one is Phantom. So I initially came across videos of it showing pretty cool active ragdoll effects. More gore stuff was showcased too. The game is going to be a tactical shooter, but there will be a twist to it. In addition to regular human enemies, there will also be an entity which will be able to ruin the player's day in a variety of ways. Like grabbing you, dragging you across the floor, throwing players around, active ragdoll will be quite handy there, and possessing players as well. So, it is going for a tactical horror thing, which does sound like an interesting combination. If you want just a more standard tactical experience without the paranormal stuff, that is also going to be an option. And interior destruction is going to be a factor too, so responsive characters, responsive environments, can't wait. Next one is also a tactical shooter titled Operator. It is a Spec Ops game inspired by Ground Branch, Escape from Tarkov and the like, and what really got my interest is the planned feature of missions in large open levels. So you have the objective and you gotta plan your approach of getting to it and accomplishing it in a hostile environment. Such operations where you can take a variety of different approaches, where enemy spawns are randomized, is something I've personally been very much itching for, so I'm quite excited. And of course, Gory will very much be a factor too, so stay tuned for more content on that as well. We also have the Resident Evil 4 remake, and it seems like response-wise it'll largely be in the vein of the second one. So, multiplayer damage, basic spilling, and weighty animation responses. Will probably be quite enjoyable, but no big new features in our aspect. Last one to keep in mind is the System Shock remake, which also has some cool things going for it. Now before we end, as you may have heard on other channels too, things are getting even more unstable on this platform for creators of any content that can be remotely deemed as controversial. The policy and algorithm changes are constant unpleasant surprises, and frankly, I'm unsure about the future of the channel even with the current far more relaxed formats. So, if you are enjoying the content, the games I'm introducing you to, the videos on whether a game is responsive or not, do consider supporting on Patreon. Any contribution, as low as $1 a month, very much helps. If fan-funded, it will just assure that the content keeps coming.